question: what's the biggest lie we've ever been fed as humanity? Here's a clue. I spoke about it in yesterday's 365 Thoughts on Confidence. My name is Abigail and I'm a self-proclaimed confidence crusader, and if you're new here, welcome. This is the place where I am recording a video a day, all centered around thoughts on confidence. I'm on a mission to elevate women's confidence so that we can all show up in this world in a more significant way. If you want a daily boost of confidence, then consider subscribing to the channel. So back to that question, the biggest lie we've ever been told. In my mind, in my opinion, it's perfection. So we're continuing the theme of yesterday's video about this idea of perfection and how it is actually not serving us in any way, shape or form to be a perfectionist. And today's thought on confidence reads: perfection is an illusion. This concept, this idea of perfection, it's all bullshit. It's such a lie. And I don't think that we're made aware of it until it's too late, until we've already incorporated this desire for perfection, for ourselves to be perfect. You know, we've already integrated this idea and made it part of our wish list for ourselves to be perfect, to have the perfect body, to have the perfect life, to have the perfect family, the perfect home, the perfect car, the perfect business, the perfect everything. There's this illusion of perfectness that we're all striving for, and the reality of the situation is that the version of the thing we're desiring doesn't even exist. It's a figment of our imagination. It's a collective figment of humanity's imagination. Back in the day, advertisers and marketers, they cottoned on to this flaw in the human psyche, and they used it to their advantage to sell us products and to sell us movies and to sell us idealized lives so that they could sell their products, because if we had their product, then we'd be closer to that vision or that image that they're selling us. And social media up until today, I think, has just exacerbated that even more, because people tend to share only the good sides, only the good stuff. And so we'll look at somebody and get completely sucked into that comparison trap of how perfect their lives and their businesses look. We get to see the opposite side of our own coin, and so we're comparing the front end of that person's coin with the back end of our own coin, and that's not a fair comparison. So we're comparing with a lie. And even if we're not comparing with somebody else, even if it is just about ourselves and being accepting of ourselves, we set such high and unreasonable standards for ourselves sometimes, and we kind of set ourselves up for failure because we're not going to reach the mark, because it's just completely unrealistic. Sure, we need to push ourselves and be the best that we can be, but at the same time, I think we also need to be compassionate. And as an example, I'm feeling very, very vulnerable today because I'm running my first official webinar online later today, and I've never really done it to this degree before, and I've got no idea what I'm doing, and I am creating as I'm learning. I am trying to emulate what I have seen others do. I'm trying to integrate what I have been taught by others, and I find myself wanting the outcome to be at the levels that I have seen other people achieve. And what I'm omitting in that train of thought right there is that they've done this several times, more than several times. They are proficient. They have been doing it for many years, and I'm just starting out. So it's unfair for me to hold myself to a standard that somebody else has achieved when I'm not at the same point in my journey as they are. And yet somehow that's what we do. I found this morning when I was going down that train of thought that, the anxiety and the fear and all of those emotions that come up when, you're trying something new, you want it to be perfect, you don't know how it's going to turn out because you've never done it before, so you've got no frame of reference. And I found myself working myself up into a tiz. And when I realized that, I took a nice long deep breath and thought, you know what? If I go into this with those expectations, this idea that it needs to be perfect, I'm not going to serve anybody. I'm not going to be helping anybody, and I'm certainly not going to be helping myself, and I most definitely will not be helping the outcome, because what I'm aiming for doesn't exist for me right now. It's not to say that it won't in the future, but it doesn't exist for me right now because I'm not at that point in my journey. I'm at this point, and at this point I can expect this kind of outcome. So for me, I shifted my energy, and I did that using an affirmation from Hal Elrod, actually, who wrote The Miracle Morning, where he says, I'm exactly where I need to be to learn the things I need to learn, to become the person I need to be, to create the life I want. And so I said that in my mind over and over again until I felt the energy shift and the fear dissipate and the anxiety dissipate, and got myself into a better state of energy. And my own approach that I add on to that whenever I go into this kind of situation is to approach it as an experiment. Like, screw the outcome, screw this idea of perfect, let's just see what happens. And when I remind myself of that, and it's not, I don't think anybody instantly goes into those kinds of, the positive side. I think your ego is always going to bring up the lack side of things, but you've got to train your brain. And sometimes it takes longer for you to recognize what's going on, but the minute you do, you can shift things. So I always find that when I choose to approach something new as an experiment with that curiosity to, let's just see what happens, then suddenly it takes the edge off, and it takes off this need for perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. It's a lie. It's like the tooth bunny. No, the tooth fairy and the Easter bunny. That's it, the tooth bunny. I'm totally going to leave that in and not edit that out. So I want to ask you, is there an illusion of perfection that you've been holding on to for too long that's been keeping you stuck? Is it time for you to shed that idea, that illusion, to get rid of that lie, and to start showing up imperfectly and taking action imperfectly? Let me know in the comments below what's going on for you right now. Where is perfection stopping you from taking action? Where is perfection getting in the way of you being your most confident self? Let me know. So that's my thought of the day. It's a bit of a ramble, but that's just where I am today, and I'm committed to being vulnerable on this journey, because maybe that's what the world needs, is to see the vulnerable side of a story. And I know it can be curated, but this is real life. This is right here, right now. This is what's going on. So I'm going to share vulnerably. And I do want to invite you along for this journey, because I think in that sharing, there's so much learning. And in that sharing, there's so much caring. So you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications button, and share this video with a woman who needs a daily boost of confidence. It might be you, or it might be a friend, or it might be a family member. Share the video, and let's all shatter this illusion of perfection, and let's all become together the most confident versions of ourselves. The world needs more confident women to show up in a more significant way. That's it. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.